Howdy, folks. Good afternoon. My name is Ranger, and I am the Trash Gamer. Gonna do a little mailbox clean out. I think I'm gonna try to do this on the daily. Try to jump on here and talk with you guys for a little bit. Put my glasses on. I'm not gonna be here too terribly long. Again, I am extremely tired. Being back on graveyard shift is absolutely killing me. I'm trying my best, but yeah, man, it's gonna take a while for my body to adjust. I'm having a rough go. I didn't even realize, but I had missed my physical therapy appointment this morning, which is not good. Good thing is that I think I have another one scheduled for tomorrow, so. Alright. Check the mailbox, man, and see if we made anything since yesterday. 233 gold. Hey. Too shabby. Let's see what we sold. Let's take a look. Risk cards of Verdant Recovery. I think those are the blues that I got from that little farm I did. Didn't get to see. That was a pretty good price, I think. Bolt Scarlet Ruby. 62 gold. Here's what's surprising, man. Lich Bloom. Ice Thorn. Looks like this stuff still sells pretty good. I may want to spend some time actually flying around and concentrating on just herbing. It could be very lucrative. My Skullflame Shield still has not sold, and that's okay. I'm hoping that it will eventually. A lot of these things that I have in my bag, man, some of these things are just really, really not selling. And I'm thinking about just busting them down into enchanting mats and see if I can get it sold that way. Probably could be more lucrative that way. Oh, we shall see. We shall see. Let me see here. Post all this stuff back up. My husky is right under my feet. I think that they miss me. They're used to seeing me all day, and now they only get to see me for a couple hours. People call them fur babies. It's the truth, man. They're just your kids that you can throw outside. I love dogs. I just love animals, period, but we have 4, so I think I like dogs a lot. Might pop on a video here, so I might want to put these on so I can hear. Nothing too crazy, just reselling the rest of the stuff I have in my bags. Like, some of this stuff is never going to sell, man. Like, come on, who's going to pay 124 gold for a ring? Like, I seriously doubt it. Maybe some of these recipes will. Get that Skullflame Shield sold, though, man. That would be fantastic. I need to check the price of the WoW token. All right, so we're up 100 gold since yesterday. It was at 4.3. Now we're at 4.4. I'm going to keep paying attention to the market, see how it's going every day, so I can know when it's a good time to purchase one. And from everything I've read, they say to purchase it on the weekend, so Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, that kind of thing. It's going to be at its lowest point. So interesting. I'm going to go ahead and collect all this. It's 233 gold right there. Like I said, which is just a drop in the bucket for some people, but hey, man, I'm not really actively doing anything every single day. So this is all passive gold from stuff I've done in the past. I checked the other two where I've got the cut gems. See if that might be a little bit more exciting. See, we're still undercutting competition. It looks like we're down to 3,500 gold on this shield, which is not a huge difference. I think I sold mine for 3.6 and some change. So not too bad, man. It's like I said yesterday, if it sold for 3,000, if it sold for 1,500 gold, man, I think it's still worth it. That's a good chunk of change. I finished putting all this stuff up. And that's done. So one tune down. Clean out didn't take very long. One thing about Wrath, man, is we don't have big enough bags. Especially on my Lobby. Like, I don't think I put any significantly good sized bags, but even still, I think the biggest bag you can craft is a 20 slot bag, if I'm not mistaken. I think you can pick up a couple 22 slot bags from the raids, if I remember correctly. They could even be 24 slot bags. But that's fairly rare to see. Oh no, we didn't sell nothing, man. We sold one cut gem. That's pretty awful. That feels bad. Now we're just gonna collect everything. That's nothing to even talk about there. Alright, so we got a whole bunch of these greens. Again, from the, I think it's the converted hero farm. I got all that frostweave cloth from the same place. So I think what I was going to do is I was going to make bags. I think I was going to bust all this stuff down. Try to get as much infinite dust as possible. Because I think I want to make bags. I think bags are still lucrative. I think they stay lucrative. Probably not worth nearly as much as they were at the start. But then again, at the start of the expansion, nobody had anything anyways. I guess some people did. I guess some people had gold from TBC. Did they do the same thing as they did in Classic? Did they allow you to bring your TBC character, or was this a fresh restart? Because no, they did allow you to take everything because I have all of my other tunes. That was a silly question to ask. I just had to think for a second. We're getting exactly what we want, man. We're getting a lot of infinite dust. This is good. I forgot how much you need per bag. I don't think I'm going to be able to make very many because I think you got to bust all the frostweave cloth down. I think you enchant it. I know that these greater cosmic essences, they sell really well. Enchanting mats traditionally do very well. Let's see. So we're looking at a gold 89 a piece. That's actually pretty good. It's a little higher. It's actually much higher than what I sold them for last time. 21 gold a piece. Wow, man. It's pretty significant, actually. Take a look at the frostweave cloth. Just a little hair over gold a piece. Region sell average 72 silver. I think that's a little bit more accurate. Sounds about right. Alright. I like this UI whenever I'm trying to compare what it is whatever it is I'm gonna make. Right? I think it's very nice for that. But I don't like looking, I don't know why I prefer this. Whoops. Alright, so we need 6 bolt of imbued frostweave and 2 eternium thread. I don't even think I can buy eternium thread here. That sucks. Bolts of imbued netherweave, or frostweave, I mean. That down at the bottom. Bolt of Frost Weave. Oh. How many infinite does? 2? Okay. Maybe this won't be so bad. It really didn't take me that long to farm up what I had there in supply, so we'll see. See, this is one of the reasons why I like it. I like this UI. You take a look at these prices on things. Bolt of Frostweed says that there's a 2 gold profit there for making those. Bolt of Imbued Frostweave says you're losing profit, actually. That's interesting. I guess maybe because the enchanting mats are going for a little bit higher. Let's see, what are the bags selling for? Frostweed bags are negative 80 gold? Seriously? Wow. It says it's 154 gold crafting cost, man. Wow, I might want to rethink this. I might just sell the raw mats. I just sell the bolts. That is interesting. Wow, okay. Let's take a look, man. Let's see. Let's see what we can post up. I'm very sad that none of my other gem cuts sold, but I mean, I can understand. There's a ton of competition, I would imagine. I don't think this stuff is in groups. Oops. Leave regular cloth alone. Let's try this again. Let's see how everything is going here. All right, looks like everything's okay. All right. So this is saying, wow, Bolt of Frostweave going for 10 gold. Okay. Oh, I like this guy's name, Rusty's Mage. All right. Rick's Ancient. This seems to be my nemesis when it comes to selling cut gems. Infinite Dust. Yeah, man, we're gonna try to just sell the raw mats. See what happens. Oops. Guess I don't have that bound. Greater Cosmic Essence going for 16 gold down there. That's pretty good. Pretty good. What does that come out to be? 1,214 gold. Infinite Dust gone up a little bit since the last time I sold it. These bolts of Frostweave, look at that. Big stacks. I wonder if that's just sheer laziness, man. I just wonder if people pay for. I mean, time is money, right? So there's that. I'm gonna go do the jewel crafting daily. Hopefully, I have the item sitting in my bank. If not, then I'm gonna bypass it. I don't believe in retail that I'm gonna have anything worth showing, but I'll log over and we'll take a look. Intricate bone figurine. And a sun crystal and a dark jade. Do I have sun crystals and dark jades? I don't see any yellow ones. Uh-oh. Probably don't have any sun crystals because I made those sun rock rings. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do this today.
Need help? Be careful.
Or did I already? Oh, yeah, okay. I already made these. I'm being silly. I forgot whenever you make the item to store in your bank that you've already used that material. So I don't need to worry about it. I just need to go pick up the item and go turn it in. Alright, I definitely got to make this a thing to do on the daily.
Light bless you. Go with honor, friend.
So, this tune has been rather ignored. As you can see, I did pick up some deadly pieces. I had some leftover honor from the last time that I played. Excuse me. I mean, I'm still rocking these vendor set blues, which were pretty good whenever I picked them up, but yeah, they're kind of garbage now. But surprisingly enough, man, this tune still does a truck ton of damage. It's really fun to play. I was never even really aware that dual wield unholy was a thing. I thought unholy was always a two-handed weapon spec. Always thought frost was the dual wield spec, but yeah, incredibly good. Super fun. It looks like some of these prices are down. They say that this is still going for that price, but I haven't seen them sell. So I'm not going to cut any more gems until I get what I have sold. I'm not seeing anything that really stands out at me. This does. An 8 parry, 12 stam. I think I have sold a couple of these. See, you got to pay attention to some of these regular cuts too, though. So yeah, this is TPC stuff. Some of these prices seem to be way inflated. I don't think the market shifts that hard by the daily. Why, hello, son. And my son texts in the chat, "What's up, Papa?" Howdy, boy. Let's see. Even trying to take a look at some of this low-level stuff. People do level tunes, fresh tunes all the time. So you never know, like, certain things could become fairly profitable, man, and if you're the one paying attention, you could catch that train. I remember selling these quite a bit more than what that is now, man, but I mean, it's garbage stats in comparison to what's out there now. But yeah. I think my paladin is back in Dell. I wanted to take a look. I could do it now. As a matter of fact, we could do a little DPS comparison. That's what we could do. I wanted to check between the 3 shields that I have. The one I bought with the badge
Well met.
from the badge vendor. Skull Flame Shield and the Petrified Lichen Guard. That's what it's called, right? Yeah, Petrified Lichen Guard. I wanted to see which one of these does I do the most DPS with, just so I can know once and for all which one I'm actually gonna run when I go do my gold farming. So we'll go do the converted hero farm for a bit. I'll pull a pack with each shield and we'll compare the DPS that was produced, because it should be the same amount of mobs. I think I just typically just fly from here. It's a little bit of a journey. It's not too far. Just going right here in this area. So just do circles right here. And we'll see just how lucrative it is, because all that stuff I just posted up in the auction house, I'm interested to see if it'll sell. I mean, it took me next to no time at all, minimal effort to make those bolts. And if that stuff's selling like it says that it is, I mean, it's fine with me. I'm gonna figure out what the key to success is, man. I know there's a lot of people that figure a whole lot of ways to corner different markets, and some people have so much gold that they're buying out and resetting auction house prices. Some people are brilliant and make investments in the future, so they're buying a bunch of materials now and they're holding on to them until the next phase. They're going to sell when they're worth so much more. I actually don't mind just going out and grinding, doing this stuff. Alright, so we want to make everything the same. So we're going to put up Seal of Command, put up Blessing of Sanctuary. I have my shield equipped. Pull this pack. See what the DPS looks like. Prop paladins are just so ridiculous. Not doing anything special, man. Just spamming my my easy mode macro. Right. Boot up. Mm-hmm. So we did 4.8k. 4.8k. Reset. Doggies are playing with each other over there. Go ahead and drink up. And heal. I don't want to die trying to do this comparison. That would be quite silly. I mean, I guess before transmog was a thing, dude, like, this was a highly sought after shield just because of the way it looks. I mean, as far as classic items go, this is one of the cooler ones. I think it holds. It holds up. All right. I'll pull this pack, but I don't think it. Fortunately, I don't think it's the same amount of mobs. We'll see. Let's see what's going on here. DPS is actually not bad. It's a little less. That's interesting. I expected it to be a lot more drastic than that. Mithril Shield Spike. Drain Life. Flame Strike. So Flame Strike did 817 damage. Drain Life did 1.2k. And Mithril Shield Spike did 353. And how do I look? How do I go back? Hmm. I don't know. Okay. Well, it was definitely less. That's for sure. But not by much. So now we're going to throw in the one that poisons people. I'm wondering if the Skull Flame Shield's still worth rocking just because of the healing you get back. Because it looks like it did drain life quite a bit. Go here. Oh, I knew I was going to pull that guy. So you can see the damage proc there. It's building up poison. Alright. It's quite interesting, man. Let's see. Spore Cloud Dot. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's worth it to rock these anymore. That's sad. I think that you get so much more out of the updated spike. Let's see. It's almost like 1,000 DPS difference. I didn't think it was that significant, but it is. So we're looking here. A Titanium Shield Spike did 1.3k. I think with all the stats that you lose, right? Because there's, I mean, stat heavy. All the armor, block, strength, stem, defense rating, hit rating, dodge rating. Losing all those things, man, to gain that little bitty proc. The only thing was the life stealing proc on Skull Flame Shield. So that looked like it actually did something. Put that back on. I'm gonna do this again. That guy's gonna pull. I thought he was. So this is a little bit interesting. Not the most interesting thing that I could do, but this is the farm, right? So this is the farm I've been doing. My lazy gold farming. Just come and get in, tangle it up with these guys. was still trying to pull. I'm wondering if maybe the Skull Flame Shield is still worth rocking simply because of the life proc, the life stealing proc. Because I noticed, man, like my health was really not moving too terribly much there. See, the drain life, it's doing a consistent 1.2k. So you add that plus this, it's 1.7k extra damage. I don't know how much it's actually healing. Let's see if I can go to healing done, if that'll show me anything. Yeah, it does. Okay, so it's only 597. All right. But if you take that out and increase the number of mobs that are hitting you, so as for example, when I do my Stratholme run, I think that could still be fairly significant, man. Maybe it might increase my survivability. Could be an interesting thing to try. Maybe I should try that and see how that feels. How survivability. Oh my goodness, man. See how my survivability feels on doing a Stratholme run. One with the Skull Flame Shield. We'll do one with each. Could do that. Do a run with each. Could be interesting. And just see. Or make a couple big pulls. Maybe just go down that first corridor. Pick up that first big group. First big pack. Compare the differences. Could be interesting. This is what makes this little gold farming thing so lucrative, man. Is these bad boys right here. And once you get these stacked up to 20, one of them sells for like 10 gold. Other sells, I think the other one sells for about 5 gold a stack. And you get a lot of these clothing scraps. Fur clothing scraps. And then obviously you get frostweave cloth. There's herbs around here to pick while you're going about your day. And you get greens. So looking for a really easy, lazy way to farm some gold, man. And it's a tried and true method, right? People did this back in the original iteration of the game. These methods have been around forever. It's been a couple weeks, man, since I've PvP'd, and I'm kind of getting antsy about it. Didn't show anything about the shield that time. I don't know if Sacred Shield. I mean, see, there's a dude over here farming it right now. This guy's a bot. Oh, I see him all the time. Every time I log in. Every time I log in, I see this guy. Is he blood? Yeah, I think he's blood. A normal player would at least want to interact with me or go around me, but I've been out here farming while he's out here farming. And he just blew right past me. He actually ran through my character model, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's a bot. But Anyways, I'll have to fly myself over to Strat. I don't want you guys to sit through a 13-minute flight. I was interested in just pulling up YouTube and seeing what's posted up. So I didn't get any copyright no-nos. I didn't get anything from Twitch. I didn't get anything from YouTube. So I guess that it is okay for me to watch a video and to make my comments on it. Now here's an interesting one. So shout out to Vin Rookie. He's one of the PvP guys I pay attention to. It says Blizzard might have just fixed solo shuffle queue times. It's already got 6.1k views. It was posted 10 hours ago. I'm kind of interested to see what he's got to say, so let's have a listen.
Jump into the new generation of automotive technicians and get the opportunity to complete your internship on an
What's up, everyone? Venuki here, and we got another video for you today. In this one, we're going to be going over all the latest patch notes for 10.1.5. These just came out today. These most recent up-to-date changes. And we got some interesting ones, including some changes to solo shuffle and some of the additional items that healers are going to be receiving. So it seems like they are wanting to continue to encourage people to play healers to help reduce the overall queue time of solo shuffle. So we can check.
I, for one, am a huge fan of any idea that they could get pull more people into solo shuffle, man. Because solo shuffle's incredibly fun. It's incredibly popular. The problem is no one wants to heal. Okay, healing in Dragonflight PvP is terrible. It's terrible. It feels bad. People are way too bursty. There's too many one-shot wombo combos. There's too much micro CC in the game. There's too much regular CC in the game. And I thought that we had fixed a lot of those issues by reducing stun durations and sap durations and blah, 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 blah. But it still feels just the same. It's been rough. Healers just seem to not have and this is just my opinion. I mean, the only healing experience I have is playing a Resto Druid. I did play a little bit of Discipline Priest, but I'm not good at the concept of damage equals healing and trying to keep up atonement stacks and then also being able to do direct healing, and it felt bad, right? It felt bad. While I did have some success sometimes, because Discipline also did a truck ton of damage, right? So don't get me wrong, like the spec does what it's supposed to do. I'm just not a skilled healer. That's what it boils down to. I have tried the last few days. Excuse me, man. Goodness gracious, I got something stuck in my throat. I've tried the past few days to try to get in and do a solo queue. Just one. Just to play one 6-round match. And by the time I'm doing all my housekeeping stuff, I queue up. Maybe I go out and, like I know on my Red Paladin, I went out and did the World PvP Daily, or the weekly for the Sparks. And I had already finished the Sparks quest, which, could take 20, 25, 30, maybe 35 minutes, depending upon the group you have. How bad you guys are getting train wrecked, how busy the little area is. But it took me, let's say, 30 minutes, for argument's sake. And in 30 minutes, I think I had the queue pop 3 times. And every time someone backed out, I was already done doing what I was doing. So I logged off. I have to go to work. I don't have time. I didn't have time to sit in queue anymore. I had to go eat dinner, take a shower, get ready to go. It feels bad. So anything that they can do to bring more healers into the queues, to drive the queues down, I don't think that it's too much to ask for solo rated content for it to be a maximum, like a maximum of a 10-minute queue. 10 minutes, and even 10 minutes I think is a little long, right? You got a guy that comes home after work, wants to spend a couple hours playing. He does some housekeeping stuff. Maybe he does a couple, the PvP daily or whatever, and he wants to play a couple rounds of solo shuffle. If they're 10-minute queues and he does 6 of them, that's an hour right there. And that's if he's getting them every 10 minutes on the dot. So boom. And actually, it's not even an hour, right? That's just an hour worth of queue time waiting. It depends on how long the matches go. So if he's up against some equally geared and equally skilled opponents, I mean, those matches themselves, each round, could take quite a bit, man. Not every round is over in 30 seconds. So, at 10-minute queues, what, maybe he could play 3 before he's burnt up his hour? And now all his free time is gone? So I don't know, man. We definitely, they need to address the issue. Obviously, we don't want healers to be immortal, right? But throughput needs to be there. Like, they need to be able to counter someone just getting blown up in the first 12 seconds of the match. And that's only if the DPSer is not doing something silly, right? There's been so many times that you're playing solo shuffle, you're in the pregame lobby, you guys are making game plan. This is going to be our kill target. We get all of that stuff settled, and you guys come out of the gate, and what happens? Right? And the guy goes out, immediately pillars the healer, right? LOS is the heals, dies in 2.5 seconds, round over. That's not the healer fault, right? That's not the healer's fault. That's not the team's fault. That's the player's fault. You made a really, really poor choice, right? But then healers get flamed right after the match, like, you didn't throw me one heal. And you go back and you look at the gameplay, and the healer and the other DPSer have barely even made it out of the gate. And this guy's already around the pillar getting one shot. So, I mean, that's the mindset. Those are some of the players that we encounter in solo queue. Not to say like it's not the norm, right? It's not everybody. I've had some really, really competitive matches. We have some evenly kept teams, and healers are pretty even, and it became a skill match, right? Instead of just picking on the guy who has 300k health because he hasn't farmed all of his gear yet. He doesn't have any conquest. You know, the guy's still sitting in honor blues. There's not much you can do when the power spike is that high. And on top of that, everyone is going to play the most powerful class that exists. Like, you don't get bonus points for playing the worst spec and the worst class in the game. You don't. You don't get extra rating. You don't get any notoriety. No one cares that you're pushing, I don't know, for example, like a blood DK. You're not going to get, you don't get anything extra from handicapping yourself. So why do it? Everyone was complaining in the first season of Dragonflight, and I missed this entirely, right? I missed all of that because I had back surgery, so I missed it. I missed the gravy train when it came to Ret Paladins, but when I came back, I had learned that Ret Paladins were super overpowered. So I leveled one and I got it geared up, and I had a lot of fun, but I had missed that bandwagon, and people were saying that these players were earning 1,000 more rating. than they probably should have. Well, what do you expect from the player base? What do you think everyone's going to do? Hey, man, Ret Paladins are ridiculous. If you want to push a Glad title, I would suggest you do it now. You don't think that everyone's immediately going to log on to their Ret Paladin alt that they haven't touched in 3 expansions probably because they enjoy playing other tunes and go, well, this one's ridiculously overpowered. Like, yep. I'm going to spend a day in Battlegrounds. Not even a day, half a day. If that, depending on if you win. I'm going to spend a little bit of time in Battlegrounds, a few hours. I'm going to get geared up. I'm going to get in the arena. I'm going to start grinding Conquest because it's uncapped. And I'm going to gear a Ret Paladin. And then I'm going to get geared, and I'm just going to crap on all of the competition. Why wouldn't you do that? So I get it. Like, there definitely needs to be an incentive for healers. I don't know how they go about balancing that part because I think there's a lot of healers that are very formidable opponents. The problem is that you have numbskull DPS that get blown up, don't know how to press a defensive cooldown. I mean, you see big burst window, you got to hit a defensive, man. You got to help your healer out. You got to kite. You got to try to take less damage. It's not a brawl, right? It's kind of like playing chess, man. You got to be a little bit strategic. There's a lot more to it. And a lot of those nuances I'm still learning, right? I'm not talking to you from a high level PvP perspective. I am your normal dad gaming demographic. I play what I know how to play. I play what I enjoy to play. Not pushing super high rating. Don't have the best composition. Not playing 3s at a competitive level. I play in the 2v2 bracket. And it's awful. Feels bad. We do have fun. Sometimes we outskill somebody. Sometimes we get someone that really shouldn't be in the arena at all and they just get blown up in 2 seconds. Sometimes people don't know how to press buttons, and when you exploit that, yeah, it's fun. It's funny. It's funny to laugh when a paladin doesn't bubble, right? It happens. But I am the regular average player base, man. Like, that's me. I've never had a Glad title. As a matter of fact, I didn't even really start PvPing until the last halfway through Shadowlands. I think maybe Season 3 and Season 4. So, and then I was leveling an army of alts. I wanted to try every single composition because Warlocks were crazy, and this class was crazy, and Discipline Priests were crazy, but I couldn't compete because I didn't have the gear. It took forever, grind out the honor, and you had to upgrade the honor gear, and then, bad system. Dragonflight, much better. You get the honor gear is good, and then you get your conquest pieces. And once the conquest pieces are obtained, that's it. There is no better gear for PvP. It's a good system. Blizzard got it right. But yeah, let's continue on with the video. I'm interested. I don't think I've heard any of this information yet.
Check those out later, but we're just going to go through these changes in order of some of the changes coming here on the updated PTR. All right, so Blizzard, hello. Here's the week's Fractures in Time PTR notes. Classes, developers, we're continuing to playtest the mana economy for hybrids and feel the changes are not as limiting on off healing as were intended with our upcoming changes. So we're making some adjustments to all specializations affected by our changes. Balance. Mana regeneration is now 1% per second. They actually nerfed mana regen for balanced druids. They nerfed mana regen for feral druids, and they nerfed mana regen for guardian druids. Now, For Evoker, we have Scarlet Adaptation. That is, I believe, where you use a Living Flame to heal. It increases the damage of your next Living Flame. So it stores 40% more total power. The amount of damage Scarlet Adaptation adds to Living Flame now matches the amount stated in the tooltip. For Devastation, this change will still be amplified by Mastery Giant Killer based on the target's remaining health. Okay. Augmentation, mana regeneration is now 1% per second, was 1.3. So they preemptively reduced Augmentation's mana regeneration. We have Devastation, mana regeneration is now 1% from 1.3. So similar change to Devastation. That's going to mean less off healing from some of these hybrid classes. For Preservation, the Vault of Incarnate's 2-set bonus has been adjusted. Now increases Reversion's healing by 35% instead of increasing its critical healing chance by 25%. So that is pretty significant, I think, is overall healing buff for Reversion for Preservation Evoker. So that'll be a bit of a buff there for Preservation. Mage. So they made some interesting changes to mages. Obviously, we're going to go through them. If you guys didn't know, in 10.1.5, mages are getting a rework. Now, for Arcane, not really a...
So I want to make sure that I'm understanding all of that correctly. It sounds like what they're doing is taking all of the hybrids, so Pharaoh Druids, Balanced Druids, anyone that is kind of a main spec DPS, but also has the ability to throw heals. It sounds like they're nerfing their mana regeneration so that they can't heal as much throughout the course of a game. That's a welcome change, because nothing felt worse, and I can tell you from personal experience of being in the 2s bracket and fighting a Shadow Priest who does a ridiculous amount of damage, and you're blowing up their partner, and all of a sudden you just see them back at full health. That feels really bad. I understand that they can throw some heals. I understand that a lot of classes have a lot of self-healing, but you shouldn't be able to fulfill both roles. I have played a lot of Rep Paladin. I get it, right? You throw Bubble. That feels bad because they're immune. You throw heals. But that bubble only lasts so long, right? But if that mana keeps ticking back up, that guy can just keep throwing heals. He can just keep throwing heals. And if he's got gear and he gets lucky with some crits, you can find yourself in a world of hurt. So, welcome changed. All right, here we go.
A massive rework. Obviously, the general talent tree is going to be seeing some improvements and quality of life changes with a few new additions to it. Things like being able to get displacement very easily. So that'll be a new ability, old ability returning that we'll have access to, which will be very nice. But in addition to that, they made some pretty significant changes to the Fire and Frost talent trees. I think Frost got the most changes. So what they did for Arcane is actually Arcane barrage damage is increased by 6% and no longer has a cooldown. So that means you're going to be able to just barrage. Now, I don't really know what that looks like from a damage standpoint. I'm going to assume it sucks and really isn't going to be that significant. But maybe, I mean, it's kind of weird, right? Like, you're just going to be able to Gatling gun it, and it is an instant cast ability that does more damage than, like, an Ice Lance, for example, that's not empowered. So you're just going to be able to spam barrage. I don't really know, like I said, how much damage that's going to do. Probably not very much, but an interesting change. Resonance now increases arcane barrage damage by 12% per target, was 15, so they actually nerfed Resonance. But I'm not sure how that is exactly offset by arcane barrage damage being increased. So it might end up being very similar, where they just wanted like single target barrage damage to do more and AoE barrage to stay the same. Arcane explosion damage was reduced by 6%. Unfortunately, and arcane orb damage reduced by 6%. Now, these two changes, they're a little bit sad for me because I already think that arcane explosion and arcane orb in PvP are very underwhelming. So I saw, players like Numbing already kind of tweeting and mentioning like, hey, maybe these changes should be PvE specific because in PvP these abilities already suck. So I don't know if that's going to help, and I sincerely doubt it. But it is a little bit sad because, spells are already kind of weak. So them getting nerfed just makes them weaker. We have Fire. Power Blast damage got increased. Ignite damage got increased. Fireball damage got increased by 4% through.
So the arcane tree, like, I'm not too familiar with. Arcane barrage, I thought that maybe is it there a slow or a snare effect? So that could be useful. I don't know if that's something you have to talent into. I'm not 100% sure. But what we're getting ready to get into, man, these fire mage changes. I don't know. I think personally that fire and frost mage is out of control. Just never. I remember being in a solo shuffle maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and there was a mage in there doing 93k DPS. It's ridiculous. Like, damn near almost 100k DPS, man. Doing just absolutely double and some change over the rest of the DPSers in the lobby. So, I don't know, man. Sometimes I don't understand the quote-unquote balancing act that Blizzard is doing.
3%, 4%, and intensifying flames is now implemented. So I'm gonna go ahead and look that up just really fast. I want to know what that is. While Ignite is on 3 or fewer enemies, it flares up, dealing an additional 15% of its damage to affected targets. So I think it's a single target. It's a new PB, or it's a new talent for Fire Mage that increases basically your single target damage of Ignite. So if it's only on like 1 or 2 targets, it's going to really boost the single target of fire, which could be interesting for PvP as well. For Frost, we have Ice Lance damage is increased by 8%. Flurry damage is reduced. Cryotherapy now highlights Ray of Frost icon when at max stacks. Okay, so there's a new talent. It's kind of interesting. So first of all, Ray of Frost is super juiced up on the PTR. And one of the ways you juice it up is through some new talents. If you Ice Lance, it empowers your next Ray of Frost. So that's what Cryotherapy is, I do believe. The more you Ice Lance, it stacks up. When you're at max stacks, it's now going to highlight. Chain Reaction now increases Ice Lance damage by 2%. Was 1%. Okay. So Chain Reaction, what do they do anything else to that? That's interesting. So Chain Reaction, this got a big buff. Brain Freeze increases the damage of your next flurry by 50%, was 65%, so that got nerfed. Slick Ice now reduces Frostbolt cast time and damage by 4%, was 2%, maximum stacks reduced to 5. So they basically made Slick Ice stack faster. That is a massive quality of life change for Mage, because obviously when you pop Icy Veins and you're building up your Frostbolts, casting 10 to get to max stacks takes a little while. Casting 5 is half the time, and it's going to be at full power. So that's a big quality of life change for Frost Mage to be basically get to full power quicker during your Icy Veins. Cold to Snap has been updated to require you to hit 3 or more enemies to reset. Cold to Snap was intended to be impactful capstone to enhance Frost AoE capabilities. However, it was also proven to be very strong on single target, which added unnecessary complexity to Frost rotation when combined with other updated reworks and talents. We've opted to change its functionality slightly so you only get a benefit when you're hitting 3 or more enemies. So this will be something you probably you're going to use against like Demo Warlocks and stuff like that, you know, but it makes sense. It was very strong. It's a bit disappointing because I thought that there was some cool utilization of this talent. Cold to Snap was basically a talent that they added, which put a long cooldown on your Cone of Cold, but your Cone of Cold now resets Comet Storm, Blizzard, and Frozen Orb. So, and puts Flurry on the target. So you could theoretically, you know, could do things like Flurry. You could do this. You could do like a Flurry, a Frozen Orb, a Blizzard, drop a Comet Storm, and then you could Cone, which will reset your Comet Storm. You could Comet Storm again, you could Blizzard again, and you could Frozen Orb again. So you could do some pretty crazy.
And that is a perfect example of why Frost Mages were ridiculous, man. I mean, granted, I understand that the game needs to reward good gameplay, right? Using the mechanics as they're intended, outplaying your opponents. I got it. But it was quite ridiculous to face. It felt like never-ending damage, constantly being pelted with something. And then, on top of that, not being able to move, right? Constantly slowed and snared and frozen. I thought that Frost Mages were out of control, man. And then double ice block and healing to full health while in the ice block. It felt bad, man. Slippery, unable to catch them. Awful, awful. Now, when I played on my hunter, mages didn't bother me too much. Like, it was okay. But as a melee, terrible. And I understand that there needs to be direct counters to certain classes, but felt really bad. Anyways, moving on.
AoE with it. But they nerfed it, so you basically have to use it in AoE situations, but I'm sure there'll still be time to use it. Evan has been removed from the talent tree. I'm kind of okay with this. I feel like Evan Bolt has been awkward for a really long time. Rip. F's in the chat. We pay our respects to Evan Bolt. Hasn't been good since Legion, but, you know, it was good during that moment. But I just feel like it makes a lot of sense to me. It's too much bloat, right? I already am at the point where I feel like Frost Mage has too many keybinds. I know that might sound weird, but I just feel like you have way too many damaging attacks as a Frost Mage. So I think, you know, pruning some of them is actually good.
Incredibly complicated.
Well, personal
to play.
opinion. Next up, we have Brewmaster. The following changes have been made to press the advantage. Second charge of Keg Smash no longer consumed by bonus cast. Facepalm value is now correctly reduced when triggered by bonus cast. Windwalker. Windwalker's so sad, man. Abyss, the Shadow Crucible 2-set bonus now has a caster-only visual. Hog. I swear, like, I don't know. I feel bad for Windwalker monks. I myself am one. I feel bad for myself. Like, just, I don't know. Whatever. I don't want to talk about that. Paladin, hold.
And see, I don't know where some of this stuff is coming from because I fight against Windwalker monks and they feel incredibly overpowered. Like, dead within 3 seconds of the match. I don't see. And I guess because I don't play at that highest competitive level and don't know everything there is to know about the game, man. But goodness gracious, man! Like, I don't understand where some of these opinions are coming from. And again, remember, I am the majority of the player base, right? I'm that demographic. All right, moving on.
Holy Light of the Dawn healing reduced by 18%. Tears Deliverance healing increased by 25%. So actually, the Paladins are getting some nerfs so far. Blessed Focus increased the healing of Glimmer of Light by 25%. Awaken is now 1 point talent. Awaken now stacks up to 12 times. Was 10/2020. Okay. Sanctifying Wrath is moved to a choice now with Awakening. War of Mercy healing increased by 50%. War of Mercy now increases healing by 50% while Aura Mastery is active. Merciful Aura / Blessing of Seasons and Awakened Sanctifying Wrath has swapped locations. Glimmer of Light's damage increased by 700%, was 850. Glimmer of Light's healing increased by 360, was 400. So basically just some numbers changes here for Paladins. Beacon of Light transfers 25% of all healing done. Beacon of Virtue can target 4 additional allies. Beacon of Virtue now costs 4% of base mana, so they actually increased the mana cost of Beacon of Virtue. Then for Protection and Ret, they did the same mana regen nerf. Keep going through these really, really quickly. Fixed an issue with Holy Priest, with the Spellbook. Mana regeneration nerf for Shadow Priest. Resolved an issue with Nature's Guardian. Mana regeneration nerfed for Elemental. Lava Bursts are no longer fired at enemies affected by breakable crowd control when triggered by deeply rooted elements or primordial wave. If the shaman's primary target is breakable crowd control when casted, that triggers either primordial wave or deeply rooted elements. The additional lava burst will still fire. Okay. Lightning bolts no longer. Okay, that is the same thing for enhancement. Area of effect damage from deeply rooted procs will no longer damage nearby enemies. And breakable crowd control. Mana regeneration nerfed. All healing increased by 3%.
Right there. Yet another change I have a problem with. Has anyone else not played against a Resto Shaman? They're immortal, man. You can get them down to 3% health and then boop, they just heal right in your face. It's incredible. And all healing across the board, 3%. They were already strong. They were not having an issue. I don't understand some of these changes sometimes, man. I feel as though, and I guess maybe that is the correct way to go about it, but I'm guessing that all of these changes come about from after we see the AWC, right? I'm guessing they're saying who's represented, who's not represented, and asking those players why they're choosing to play the classes that they are. And I guess that they're bringing up the quote unquote underperforming specs. But hasn't been my experience. Like I said, I understand that the game is not balanced around twos. Everything is balanced around threes, but it doesn't make it feel any better. All right. So Resto Shamans are going to be 3% across the board better healers. Great.
So they buffed the healing for restoration druids. And then we have the PvP changes that I was most interested in for this video specifically is items and rewards. So self-damage from Vessel of Searing Shadow.
Oh, and I may have heard that incorrectly. I thought we were talking about shamans. If that's all healing increased by 3% for restoration druids, then I would totally agree with that sentiment. Resto felt okay. But in an emergency situation when someone's really getting pelted, it's kind of hard to keep up. So HOTS being able to tick a little bit harder, I think that's a good thing. The only thing Resto really has going for it is the same thing it's always had going for it, is that it's squirrely. And I'm not good at playing the evasive mode, running around the map and bashing targets and doing this and doing that, but I do understand the concept of healing. So if it's a 3% increase to restoration druids, then I get it. But I'm pretty sure that I was correct. I'm pretty sure that was for Resto Shaman, but that's okay. Moving on.
Neltharin's Call to Suffering no longer breaks stealth and is less likely to interrupt other actions. Didn't even know that existed, but this is the big one. So Field Medic's hazard payout now contains a new item, Medal of Conquest. Medal of Conquest is a bind on account item that awards 30 conquest. Field's medic hazard payout now has a higher chance to drop Medals of Honor. So there's two things here, because this is something we've been talking about and wanting for a really long time, is more rewards for healers, incentivize people to play healers. Now this is interesting, but I don't think it's interesting enough.
Wife and
if
kids
I'm
are
being
home.
honest. So the second part, where Medals of Honor. I have a question for you guys. Does anyone care about Medals of Honor? Actually, I might be tripping. Am I tripping?
Grammarly Go is a product that offers personalized generative AI assistant instead of writing replies from scratch.
Yeah, so I had a brain fart. So Medals of Honor are a token you get that increases your honor. Okay, so a way to help gear. And then there's this, which gives you Medal of Conquest. So those two things combined, basically what they're doing is they're making it so if you play a healer in solo shuffle, you're going to be gaining, not only honor for your alts, but conquest for your alts. So the idea is if you play a healer frequently enough, you're going to be able to basically freely gear alternate characters. Now, that is
Oh
good.
my God,
Like,
my
there's nothing
dogs are
wrong
going
with that.
crazy.
Could it be more? Does it need to be more than that? Perhaps. But the thing is, I feel like at the end of the day, I do like the fact that they're increasing rewards, but at the end of the day, I feel like they also need to try to make healing fun in solo shuffle. That's a much more difficult task, I think, because if it's not fun to play, even if you give unless you give ludicrous rewards, I feel like
I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about that. I've never heard them go off like that. This is ridiculous. My apologies. The two huskies are down there just howling. That was crazy. I'm sorry about that. I've never heard them go off like that. I don't understand what that was about. I understand they're excited that my wife and kids are home, but that was ridiculous. So I try to finish this up. Of course, my kids just come in yelling and screaming. They know I'm up here streaming. I know that they do. And they don't care. Thus is dad life. All right, let's finish this
I
up.
think a lot of people aren't going to want to do it unless it literally was like gold, where you could buy game time. Like gold or like really prestigious mounts or something is like what the reward would have to be to get everyone to do it. I think this is a step in the right direction, and maybe for some people this is really going to help. I am interested. Like for me personally, like now if I, for example, now if I decide that I want to, you know, play my Preservation Evoker a bunch in Solo Shuffle, I can actually build up these Medal of Conquest. I can build up the Medal of Honor, and I can get a full set of priests for like a priest alt or something, a full set of gear for like a priest alt or something like that if I really wanted to do that. So it might be enticing enough, but I'm not really sure. And I'm curious what you guys think. Like, is this going to be enough? Is this something that will actually encourage you to play Solo Shuffle? Because that really is the question. To heal Solo Shuffle. Evoker Augmentation. Evan Might increases the augmentation Evoker's damage by 20%, was 14. Damage is increased by 14%, was 10. Born in Flame increased the max stacks of Burnout to 3. Now, Augmentation Evoker is something I don't really know too much about, but I'm going to learn. This is another thing I want to know from you guys. If you're still here at this video, 15 minutes in, Augmentation Evoker, is this something that you want me to learn, make a video of, explain to you guys? Like, would you guys want an Augmentation Evoker guide? Please let me know. The Absorb Shield from Purification is now dispellable. The increased healing taken from Divine Hymn is no longer dispellable. Powered Life can no longer heal battleground vehicles. So there it is. There's the changes. Please let me know.
You know, like I stated earlier, any welcome change to increase the amount of participation in PvP, because it sounds like the only way I'm going to be able to play any threes is to play Solo Shuffle. So I can have that experience, even though I know that that's not a true representation of what threes actually feels like. As you can see, I really didn't sell much of anything here. Only 2,100 gold so far, but that was the first post of the quote-unquote week. So I'm just going to let that ride. I let it sit up there for 2 days. I try to come over here and repost. Slacked a little bit for a couple of days. Check the other tune right quick. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy they're going to incentivize healing. I'm happy that that's going to be a thing. I'm hoping that it'll bring some of the player base back. But we'll see. I'm going to check this mailbox right quick. Looks like it's about time for me to go hit some dungeons and restock, 'cause I need to get some cells, man. We'll see. Let's see what's going on. Feel like right there. Furious Alloway. 13K. Stuff like that, man. Those are cool little things. Let's finish reposting all this stuff, man, and then we'll get out of here. I gotta go eat dinner, and I gotta go make dinner, eat, and get ready for work. This staying up all night stuff, man, is killing me. We're getting back in the swing of things. Post these last few items. Just getting the rest of the stuff out of the mailbox. I think I'm going to end up selling all that bind on equip gear that I have down here. Stuff is pretty much garbage. So, I don't know. I think that's a battle pet. 5,600 gold. All right. Post all this stuff up. Just got to get it up there, man. You never know when you might get a sale. Just get all this extra junk in my bag, man. It makes these scans go even longer. And see, like, stuff on here, man. I don't think we'll ever sell 124K for a Gulp Froglet. Yeah, I doubt that. I don't understand what the big deal is. Like, my kids want my attention now. Never want my attention, never, except when I'm trying to stream. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks. Appreciate the support. And have a good day. Be safe. I'm Ranger the Trash Gamer, and I'm out.